Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we're going to do a character guide on Ursula, and as you can see here, my Ursula is ridiculously decked out. So she's got her FR fully maxed out, she's got blue armor, and I've got an Ultima weapon on her, Force Enhanced 30, she's completely decked out. So we're looking at a fully maxed out Ursula, full investment here. Ursula is a very cool, interesting character. She is very much, she does a lot of free turn spamming. She is a battery type character that batteries in a very unique way. She has a little bit of turn manipulation. She has Lena's mechanic where one of her attacks will damage based on the entire party's like current brave, which is really really interesting. Or I should say that's mimicking Charlotta's. Lena's is on HP, but it's like Charlotta, where Charlotta will damage based on like whatever the party's stats are in terms of brave, which is very very cool. So she's a very good. I would call her an offensive slash like brave mechanic character, right? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at her kit here and show you how to play her. So first, let's jump into her artifacts and her spheres. Her force enhancements are actually standard. I really wanted her to be a force charger, but she actually isn't. So she's more of meant to be a little bit more offensive while still kind of supporting through battery and brave, right? So let's go ahead and look at her artifacts. So for her artifacts here, the number one you probably want to do is attack 108 and then her C50, which is Princess of Fabul up, which is max brave and attack. Max brave 330 is also good on her. So the thing with Ursula is she does do decent damage, but she really is more about like her support and battery, I would say. And a lot of her battery scales on her max brave. So going for max brave when you're looking at spheres and her artifacts isn't the worst idea. So some combination, but I think attack 108 and then max brave and attack on the C50 is a really good combo right there. So that's what I'm going with. And then if we go into the spheres here. So she's got two A slots and a D slot. Now, one thing that Ursula does is one of her debuffs makes it so that she always does weakness damage. Now, she's not tied to an element. It's just if the enemies have the debuff on, she gets weakness damage. So you can use weakness damage spheres. So you can see I kind of went crazy and put all weakness damage. But she's the standard for the A slot where you want attack and brave damage, but you could also do max brave. So if you find an A slot that is attack max brave, that's actually probably like one of the best ones you can put on there. She also does physical damage, so you could put a physical damage sphere on her. So when I originally got Ursula, I kind of just put some really good full spheres that I had, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily the best in slot. So we've got Lulu's, which is int brave and max brave. So if and that's fine because she is a battery character, so that's not a bad sphere to put on, but attack max brave would have been better there. And then the other one I have on here is, oh, what's his face from Final Fantasy VIII? A lot of names, can't remember, but this is attack up for 10%. So that's always really good when you can get attack up. So we got a 10% attack up. So that one's actually a really solid one. But yeah, I would say the best ones you could put on her are A spheres that have attack and max brave. So just look through your box and see what you got there. Just remember, it can be physical damage and it can also be weakness damage if you want to use those for conditions. In the D slot, here you normally would want to do the standard like attack D sphere. So this could be like Ash, Hope, Lise. Those are all decent ones. I did opt for her own, which is a max brave sphere. So I'm kind of building mine more towards the battery route. So I am going with more max brave on mine, but you could definitely do attack in that slot if you wanted to. I would say you really can't go wrong with any of those. So it's totally up to you. But once again, really attack and max brave are the two big things you want to get on Ursula. So that's what you should focus on there. All right, so let's hop into the showcase here. And what we've got is we've got Penelo and we've got Rem. So we can basically force charge and we can basically force her turns out when we want to. We won't bring a friend unit here. We'll just hop in as is. The one thing I'll say about Ursula's force time, she has a very easy to activate force condition for the HP damage up. So one benefit of her force, it's very flexible. Like pretty much it will work with any character. Basically, as long as you have at least 20% max brave, it goes up 15% when you act. And if you have 100% or more max brave, then it's 30%. So basically, if you're at 100% max brave when you attack, it's going to go up 45%. It's a very easy sphere, right? And so Ursula is really about keeping your party brave up like constantly. And we're going to talk about that as we go through the kit here, right? So the first thing we'll do is we'll just show off the AA because it's a free turn. So we'll just do the AA there. So what the AA does is it does put her special debuff on the enemies. You also get it from her C15. But this debuff that the enemies get basically is going to be a defense and speed down. But this is the debuff that makes it so she does weak damage. So just not, she gets that from the AA or the C15 attack, right? All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do her 35 to start, which is called Chakra, just because it's going to be an instant free turn. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, and what it's going to be a huge battery. So you see we got a ton of battery there, and we do drop an attack off at the end. And notice that when Ursula attacks, she didn't actually lose her brave. She actually kept it from the attack, right? So that's really nice, and it does extend her buffs, and it gives her a free turn. So Chakra is a very spammable skill. Now, you notice it has fairly low skill uses, but she recovers skill uses of it with her EX. So you can spam it more than you would think, because it's going to spam with her EX there, right? Let's go ahead and do the 15 CP, which is Tenketsu, so we'll show that off. We'll go ahead and attack this guy here. So we'll go ahead and do that here. Let's just see the cool animation. Okay, so you see her damage isn't crazy, right? But she's more about the battery. So the cool thing with Tenketsu, and part of the reason that it maybe doesn't hit as hard, it's literally an instant break, which is crazy to have that many skill uses of just an on-demand instant break. So that instant break, what that means is, doesn't matter what the enemy's brave is, it will just instantly break them. That is so handy to have, which means that she can combo well with like some of those breaking spheres. So if you have an A sphere that says when the enemy is broken, you get something, like you definitely could get some use out of that sphere with her. Just know that C15, that's really kind of like her off turn like attack. Like that's like on the turn where you don't know what to press, like that's kind of just like a filler button, really. Or if you like need that instant break, that's pretty much when you're going to use that, right? Let's go ahead and swap back to Ursula so we can get her back here. Okay, so we've done the 15, we've done the 35, we've shown the AA. Let's go ahead and talk about the LD. Her LD is pretty loaded and pretty cool with what it does. So let's go ahead and use it. We're going to do Scarlet Legs of Fury here. So let's go ahead and pop that through. Let's see how much damage we get out of this here. Okay, oh yeah, 1 mil AoE. That's very good damage we got on the LD, right? So basically what the LD does, it does ignore defense. So it's always good, like the brave damage is going to look really, really good on it all the time. She gets a free ability use on her next turn. So you could use that on Chakra if you want to. That's usually what I do because it's a free instant turn. It's going to give you free battery. And then it gives her 2 uses of a special HP attack, which we're going to talk about. And then she gets a special buff from this also. So what the buff is going to do, it's going to do some really good generic party stats. But the big thing that her LD buff does is it makes it so your party's brave cannot fall below 20%. And because your brave cannot fall below 20%, you literally cannot be broken. That is a very, very strong mechanic, especially if you're facing bosses that punish you for being broken. There are some bosses that if they break you, they instant kill you. Ursula, basically, you can't be broken, which is in itself a broken ability. It is very good to just say, hey, you can't break me. Like, that's actually quite crazy. So right now, we cannot be broken. The other thing with Ursula is, like, she just keeps your brave capped out a lot. Like, you can see our brave just, like, stays pretty full here the whole time. It's very easy to stay at full brave, which is kind of what she's intended to do, because once again, her force ability, you want the party to always be at max brave to get the most out of that force ability, right? Okay. So now we've got, so you could do the free skill on the AA or the EX, but let's go ahead, or sorry, the AA or the 35. So let's do the 35, okay? So let's do this. So here's the combo that you would do. You would do the 35 to battery up, and then what you could do is we can use this Tenshoha. You see that HP attack change? What this does, it's basically going to deal damage to the enemies, and it's literally going to just like add up all the party's max brave together and do that as damage without actually consuming any brave from the party. So we're going to do this here, and you're going to see it's going to damage based on, pretty much just based on what our max brave was at, and you can see all the brave just stays capped out. And you get 2 uses of that every LD use. So I recommend you use up both your Tenshohas before you do the LD again, otherwise you're wasting a skill use on that. Now let's go ahead and show off the EX here. So let's pop that EX. This should do pretty good damage. This is her C90 EX, so I haven't seen how much damage it does. Comboing with Yang, which is awesome. Who's her dad, by the way? Oh yeah, 800k AoE. That's a really decent EX, especially because it's a fairly fast charging EX, right? So it does do a battery. It's going to do full HP damage to the enemy, which you saw there. And it doesn't consume her brave and extends her buffs 1 turn. So just think of it as a really nice big fat AoE attack. that it just does good damage, right? And party battery. All right, so now we're back to her again. You can see she steals a lot of turns. Here's the other thing I forgot to mention, that she gets with her LD buff. So anytime an enemy takes a turn, whenever your ally is going after an enemy, she jump cuts in front of your ally. So she does turn manipulation. So she's probably been doing it. I haven't been paying attention to her her turn order, but you've probably noticed it happened in the video, and maybe we're wondering what that was. That also comes from her LD buff, right? Okay, so we did that. We did that. So now we're just sitting here on a turn, right? Trying to figure out what we want to do. So you can see our Brave is max. So this is a great spot to use the Tenshoha. Or the other thing I could do is, let's say this enemy on the right. Let's try this once. So you see that enemy on the right was already broken. She has instant break on her 15, so it doesn't matter if they're broken already. She just free instant break. So that's kind of cool too. You can do a little bit of delay tactic with her. Realistically, guys, I think Ursula is kind of a little underrated because she does have so much utility. She has so much she does in her kit. So with my maxed out Ursula, I'm planning to bring her into Dare to Defy, probably the current one because she's built for it, and I think she's gonna do really well in there. So I'll definitely try to show her off in a true difficult full fight, just so you guys can kind of see how she's doing there. But I really like her. I think she's very, very cool. So then once again, here's kind of like an in-between turn. So I've got Max Brave. So let's go ahead and do Tenshoha. And we're just going to unload a bunch of damage there. Okay. And then Rem's up. Rem will just do this. And then with Penelo now, we are going to Force Charge, and we're going to get into Ursula's Force Time, so that we can show that off. So let's go ahead and we'll kind of charge our way in here. So, sure, we'll take the free intercession. Now, Ursula's Force isn't going to compare to a Tidus or a Camp Force. Think of Ursula as a character where you're going to be in a longer fight where you're probably going to use maybe more than one Force Time. But it's not a completely busted Force where you're going to be getting up to 800% and doing ridiculous 100 mil burst phases, right? That's not really what her Force is going to do. But what I like about the Force is it's super solid, super easy to activate, and super easy to use in a lot of team comps, which I like that for Ursula because she's the type of character that she's literally a character you can throw into any team comp as a dedicated support character. Now the one thing is she doesn't really do any healing, so you might still need to have a healer at some in some capacity. But for the Brave gains and the Brave battery, it's kind of crazy. So the one thing I forgot to mention, I may have mentioned it, but when on a ton of her attacks, she's doing party battery, and it's based on her max Brave, with the exception of Chakra. The one thing I forgot to mention about Chakra is that what it does is it sets your party's max Brave, or it sets their current Brave to their max Brave. So it's technically not doing a Brave gain. So any enemies that have insane Brave gain reductions, it just doesn't even matter. She just says, here's your Brave, it's now your max Brave. Which is really ridiculously awesome with the Chakra because you don't even need the Paladin Cecil Sphere. She gets around all that Brave gain reduction shenanigans just by doing Chakra and saying, yep, we are at your max Brave now. So that's another thing I do like about her. Very, very cool character. I think the reason why she's maybe a little underrated, she just comes out at weird times where there's other really strong characters around her. She's never the highlight of a cycle or anything like that. But I think she is definitely a great character if you decide to pick her up and invest in her. Like I said, I'll definitely be showing her off because I do really like her. Okay, so Penelo here, we'll just go ahead and attack through. Alright, and we've got Ursula's turn up here. So what we'll do is we are going to jump into Force Time. Should I do it with a burst or with a summon as well? I might. So let's go ahead and use her actual Force attack. Let's look at the animation here. And she partners with Ashe. How cool is that? I like Ashe a lot too. Ashe isn't the greatest character in DFFOO, but I like her character. And I think she actually gets pretty decent when she gets her FR. Okay, so there's a mill AoE on the Force attack. So her Force attack, big AoE attack as you saw there, raises their current Brave to their max Brave. So same thing as Chakra, right? And does a lot of damage. And then once again, basically, if we're at max Brave, we're getting 45%. Otherwise, we're getting 15% guaranteed because her effect caps us at 20. We can't go below 20%. So basically, the way to think of her Force Time, any action, you're guaranteed to get 15%. But if you're at max Brave, you get 45. So right now, you can see we're at max Brave. So let's go ahead and sure, let's pop the EX here. And then we were at, so basically if their brave number there is orange, it means they're at max or above max, right? So yep, there's 48% just for attacking with max brave. And the thing with Ursula, I mean, she does have like free skill uses. And the thing is during the force, I could pop chakra at any time if I needed to. I could do that. So let's go ahead and do a summon here. This could actually be kind of nasty because with Bahamut summon, her EX actually does pretty nice damage and it extends all of her buffs by 1 turn. So I literally can just spam her EX during Bahamut. All my buffs are going to get upkept and I can just like do this. This is actually not a bad way to use her force time because her EX does do pretty good damage. Now, typically, Ursula isn't going to be your main damage dealer, right? So, oh, why didn't her EX refresh? I'm in Bahamut, am I not? Bahamut's supposed to like max your EX out? Interesting. Oh, you know what? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't just refresh. So that's fine. We'll just do a different attack. Let's go ahead and do a chakra here. Because it does still do an HP attack. It's just not nearly as much. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, I'm actually a little perplexed right now because Bahamut is supposed to like automatically refill your EX gauge. So I don't know if like, I don't know. It could be a glitch. Someone in the comments let me know why my EX isn't filling up. But my understanding was Bahamut gave you instant EX every time. And every other time I've done it, it's worked. Because I did this with Penelo when she first came out. And I was spamming her EX. So yeah, I'm actually kind of confused why that's not working. It could actually be a glitch. Because yeah, right now Rems didn't refill either. It could be a bug. Which that's what I'm going to guess is that it's probably a bug. Because Bahamut is supposed to refresh the EX. I'll have to check the bug list and see if they notice that. I could be wrong though. Someone let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. Rem, let's go ahead and I guess we'll just HP attack. Rem doesn't really, I guess I can do her LD. That does good damage. But you can see here, our Brave is just like staying capped and we're just like automatically getting 45%. So like I said, I think the benefit with Ursula's Force, it's just a very free and easy FR to use. Literally takes no setup. You can just go through and attack with your party. You don't have to do a burst phase. Here's a really good spot to do Tenshoha, so let's go ahead and do that. This is going to do really big damage, by the way. And we got to launch with it. Okay. Yeah, that was 4 mil with a 2.5 mil splash. Could have been more if we had the full launch there, which we didn't have. Sure, let's go ahead and HP attack here. Get another little launch off. Okay. Oh, there we only got 20%. I didn't notice our Brave wasn't capped out. And so right here, you can see Ursula's Brave isn't capped. So what we could do is we could do Chakra. Now we got Cat Brave. And then that would have been a bigger increase. But you see, we did decent damage during that force time. Not a bad character at all. Yeah, now we come out of it and we've got the EX. But yeah, that Bahamut thing must be a glitch right now. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Ursula. I think she's a super cool, fun character. Keep your eye out for my Dare to Defy. I think I'm going to try her out on there. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys all on the next one.